nationwide, this is Kanyale and you're watching Real-Time News. Today, we bring you the top stories on significant natural disasters, risk issues in the Philippines in 2025. From earthquakes and typhoons to volcanic eruptions, fire incidents and government accountability in disaster management. Here are the latest reports. We begin with earthquakes, one of the country's most persistent threats. Here's Rosada with the details.
The Philippines lies along the Pacific Ring of Fire, making it highly vulnerable to earthquakes. According to Pillbox, the nation is at constant risk of the magnitude 7 due to active trenches and faults. A strong quake along the West Valley Fault in Metro Manila could lead to a collapse of 168,000 buildings and claim more than 33,000 lives. In a worst-case scenario, even moderate tremors continue to disrupt lives. On January 23, a magnitude 5.8 quake in southern Leyte set residents outside in panic. Experts emphasize that preparedness, strict compliance with the building codes, and retrofitting remain key in reducing risks. Now, let's take a look at some interesting earthquake facts.
Did you know that earthquakes themselves don't directly kill people? Well, most injuries and deaths are caused by collapsing buildings and falling objects. That's why strong infrastructure and the drop, cover, and hold are very important.
Another fact, there's a prediction about a major earthquake in Manila called the Big One. It involves the West Valley Fault, which could have catastrophic consequences if it moves.
Those are reminders of why preparedness is essential. Back to our reports. Land shaking to storm surges, typhoon also leave their mark. Around 20 tropical cyclones enter the Philippine area of responsibility every year. With several making landfall this year, severe tropical storm Wifa forced nearly 193,000 people to evacuate, while Typhoon Imong displaced 278,000 residents and triggered landslide and flooding in Pangasinan. In August, Typhoon Kajiki brought severe flooding to Metro Manila and Lahar threats near Mayon volcano. Pag-asa warns that even average typhoons can be deadly when combined with the southwest monsoon. Experts stress the importance of evacuation planning, resilient infrastructure, and community preparedness.
To keep us safe, here are some useful disaster tips.
Stay updated with quality official sources like Pillbox, Pag-asa, or in DRR MC instead of social media room.
Preparedness saves lives. Now, let's move to our next story. Pillbox is closely monitoring Canlaon, Mayon, and Taal volcanoes.
On September 15, Canlaon recorded 72 volcanic earthquakes, signaling rising magma and possible eruption. Mayon, meanwhile, showed seismicity and ground swelling, which could trigger phreatic explosions.
At Taal volcano, seismic energy and gas emissions intensifies in August, rising the risk of sudden steam-driven eruptions. Authorizes continue to restrict entry into permanent danger zones, stressing public safety and aviation warning.
Join and practice community, whether it's earthquake, typhoon, or fire drill, so you will know exactly what to do in real disaster.
Apart from natural disasters, fire incidents remain a major concern. June, twin fires in Pasig City affected over 500 individuals, while a July blaze in Mandaluyong injured 7 and damaged 250 houses. Later that month, a fire in Tondo, Manila displaced 175 families. Authorities continue the investigation while providing aid to the victims.
Did you know that most fire incidents starts in the kitchen or with a faulty electrical wiring? That's why regular checks are very important.
Always keep a fire extinguisher at home and know how to use it. And remember the PASS method. Pull, aim, squeeze, and then sweep.
In 2025, the Philippines continued to face challenges in disaster risk reduction and management. Despite having laws like RA 10121, the reports revealed unspent disaster funds, anomalies in projects, and weak support for DRRM offices, showing the system is still far from perfect. The Commission on Audit reported that Batangas failed to use over 283 million in its DRRM budget, while Kawit Cavite also did not implement 5 million worth of disaster programs. Meanwhile, the Department of Education admitted its quick response funds remained too limited. 20,000 pesos for cleanup and 50,000 pesos for repairs. Barely enough when schools are damaged by typhoons and earthquakes.
Flood control projects also face controversy this year, with COA launching a performance audit on Allied Ghost project and substandard constructions. Even President Marcos ordered a nationwide review after flooding persisted in provinces like Bulacan despite massive budgets. At the same time, DRRM officers in Central Visayas called for reforms, asking for hazard pay, better equipment, and stable positions. This showed that even those tasked to protect communities face struggles of their own.
In the end, unspent funds, inaccessible resources, questionable projects, and poor support for disaster personnel remain the biggest barriers to disaster resilience. Experts argue that transparency, accountability, and stronger community-centered planning are urgently needed if the Philippines is to stand stronger against disasters.
This story reminds us that disasters are not just about natural hazards, but also how well we prepare and respond as a nation.
From earthquakes and typhoons to fires, volcanoes, and the policies meant to protect us, disaster risk remain a shared responsibility. This has been real-time news, not just the headlines, but the whole story. Whole country, whole world. Good day.